Genesis 9 1-3. So God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be on every beast of the earth, on every bird of the air, on all that move on the earth, and on all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I have given you all things, even as the green herbs.
God blesses Noah and his sons, repeating the command to be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. He establishes that humans will have dominion over the animals, and all living creatures will be subject to them. God also expands humanity's diet to include meat, in addition to the plants that were previously permitted.
Genesis 9 4-6. But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. Surely for your lifeblood I will demand a reckoning, from the hand of every beast I will require it, and from the hand of man. From the hand of every man's brother I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed, for in the image of God he made man.
God provides a restriction on consuming meat. The blood must not be eaten. Blood represents life, and God commands respect for it. He also institutes the principle of retribution for taking another human life, emphasizing the sacredness of human life as all humans are created in His image.
Genesis 9:7. And as for you, be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply in it.
God reiterates the command for Noah and his family to be fruitful and multiply, emphasizing the need to repopulate the earth after the destruction of the flood. As you continue reading the story of Noah and his descendants, consider the themes of God's covenant, the value of human life, and the responsibility of humanity to be good stewards of the earth and its creatures. Reflect on the importance of obedience and faith in our relationship with God, as well as the consequences of sin and the grace of God's promises.
Genesis 9 8-11. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And as for me, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, every beast of the earth. Thus I establish my covenant with you, never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth.
God makes a covenant with Noah, his descendants, and all living creatures, promising that He will never again send a flood to destroy the earth. This covenant demonstrates God's commitment to His creation and His mercy toward humanity, despite their sinful nature.
Genesis 9:12-17. And God said, This is the sign of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be for the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, This is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth.
God provides a sign of the covenant, the rainbow. The rainbow serves as a reminder to both God and humanity of the promise never to flood the earth again. It is a symbol of hope in God's faithfulness to His creation. As you study the story of Noah and his descendants, consider the themes of God's covenant, mercy, and faithfulness. Reflect on the importance of obedience, faith, and the consequences of sin. The narrative serves as a reminder of our responsibility to be good stewards of the earth and its creatures, as well as the grace and mercy of God's promises.
Genesis 9:18-19. Now the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated.
Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, become the progenitors of all the earth's peoples. The specific mention of Canaan, Ham's son, foreshadows future events and the significance of the Canaanites in the biblical narrative.
Genesis 9:20-23. And Noah began to be a farmer, and he planted a vineyard. Then he drank of the wine and was drunk, and became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness.
After the flood, Noah takes up farming and plants a vineyard. He drinks from the wine he produces and becomes drunk, leading to an unfortunate incident where he is found naked in his tent by his son Ham. Ham, rather than respectfully covering his father, goes and tells his brothers, who then walk backward into the tent to cover their father, showing respect by not looking upon his nakedness.
Genesis 9:24-27. So Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done to him. Then he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants he shall be to his brothers. And he said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and may he dwell in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be his servant.
When Noah wakes up and learns what Ham and his other sons have done, he pronounces a curse on Canaan, Ham's son, stating that he will be a servant to his brothers. He then pronounces a blessing on Shem and Japheth, foreseeing their descendants' prosperity. This passage introduces the concept of blessings and curses based on obedience and disrespect, and it sets the stage for future events involving the descendants of Noah's sons. As you reflect on this section of Genesis, consider the respect for authority, consequences of actions, and the power of blessings and curses. Reflect on the significance of these themes as they recur throughout the Bible.
Genesis 9:28-29, And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. So all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died.
The narrative provides a brief account of Noah's life after the flood, mentioning that he lived an additional 350 years, totaling 950 years. His long life is consistent with the pre-flood patriarchs, who also lived for hundreds of years.
Genesis 10:1, Now this is the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And sons were born to them after the flood.
The narrative transitions to the genealogy of Noah's sons, who become the ancestors of all the earth's peoples. This genealogy serves as a bridge between the story of Noah and the subsequent narratives in Genesis, connecting the characters and events in a coherent historical framework.
Genesis 10:2-5, The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these the coastland peoples of the Gentiles were separated into their lands, everyone according to his language, according to their families, into their nations.
The genealogy begins with the descendants of Japheth, who were associated with various Gentile peoples who settled in different regions, each with its own language, family, and nation. As you study the genealogies in Genesis, it's essential to recognize their significance in establishing historical context, connecting the narratives, and showing the development of various people groups. As you continue reading through Genesis, look for recurring themes such as obedience and disobedience, God's faithfulness and promises, the consequences of sin, and the development of nations and peoples. These themes provide a framework for understanding not only the events of the early chapters of Genesis but also the broader biblical narrative.
Genesis 10:6-10, The sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabteka, and the sons of Raamah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush begot Nimrod, he began to be a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, therefore it is said, like Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar.
The genealogy continues with the descendants of Ham, including the notable Nimrod, described as a mighty hunter and a prominent leader who established a kingdom, beginning with Babel in the land of Shinar. This passage provides a link to the upcoming narrative about the Tower of Babel and the dispersion of the peoples.
Genesis 10:11-20, From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Rezin between Nineveh and Calah, that is the principal city. Mizraim begot Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, and Casluhim, from whom came the Philistines and Caphtorim. Canaan begot Sidon his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusite, the Amorite, and the Girgashite, the Hivite, the Archite, and the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zimrite, and the Hamathite. Afterward the families of the Canaanites were dispersed. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon as you go toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, then as you go toward Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These were the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands and in their nations.
The descendants of Ham spread across various regions, founding cities and nations. The genealogy provides an overview of the different peoples and their territories, including the Philistines, Canaanites, and various others. These groups play significant roles in the subsequent narratives in Genesis and the rest of the Old Testament. As you study the genealogies in Genesis, consider their significance in establishing historical context, tracing the development of different peoples, and linking various biblical narratives. Reflect on how the choices and actions of individuals can have far-reaching consequences, influencing the course of history and the unfolding of God's plan.
Genesis 10:21-31, and children were born also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder. The sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arphaxad begot Salah, and Salah begot Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons, the name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan begot Almodad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Ozal, Deklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. And their dwelling place was from Mesha as you go toward Sephir, the mountain of the east. These were the sons of Shem, according to their families, according to their languages, in their lands, according to their nations.
The genealogy continues with the descendants of Shem, who were associated with various regions in the Middle East. Shem is particularly significant as the ancestor of Abram, Abraham, the patriarch of the Israelites, and Eber, from whom the term Hebrew is derived. One notable figure in this genealogy is Peleg, whose name means division. The text mentions that in his days the earth was divided, which could be a reference to the dispersion of peoples after the Tower of Babel, which will be described in the next chapter.
Genesis 10:32, these were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations, and from these the nations were divided on the earth after the flood.
The chapter concludes with a summary statement reiterating that all the nations of the earth descended from the sons of Noah. This genealogy serves as a backdrop to the narratives that follow, connecting the story of Noah and the flood with the story of Abraham and his descendants. As you continue studying Genesis, consider how the genealogies establish historical context and link different narratives. Reflect on the unfolding of God's plan through the generations, the dispersion of peoples, and the development of nations. This broader perspective can enrich your understanding of the individual narratives and the themes that run through the book of Genesis and the entire Bible.